Okay. This is going to be the fourth time I've started this. My QuickTime movie recorder keeps crashing, so I don't know. I might I might be screwed for making a video right now. Um, I have a bunch of hauls to show you. I just came back from my comic book store. It's Thursday. Um, so let me show you the pull list haul, and then I have a bunch of other stuff I'd like to show you if QuickTime will work for me. Um, so yeah, I got Green Valley number 2. Never got Green Valley number 1. My store screwed up or something screwed up. They are ordering me a second print of Green Valley number 1. I don't know how long that will take to come. I got a large stack of comics again this week. It's become part of the problem with the large stack of comics is it's harder when I'm quickly going in and out of my shop to keep track of whether I got the comics I wanted and all of them and etc. I did catch this Green Valley thing. At first I thought I must not have ever put it on my pull, but it turned out I did. But then how come I never got issue number 1? Doom Patrol from Young Animals, issue number 3. This may be the make or break issue for me. I love the art, but I just feel like it's kind of a frustrating read, and I have so much to read. I gotta make cuts where I can. A+A, the current Archer and Armstrong version. Really been enjoying this. I'm a few issues behind, so hopefully I will continue to enjoy it. Looks like it's still Mike Norton art, which has been good. I also liked the previous artist. As long as the writer Rafer Roberts is the writer here, I think I'm going to be a big fan of A+A. He's done such a great job. Really glad to see that I did get the second issue of Shipwreck. This is a great cover. Very quirky, kind of abstract comic, judging from issue 1. I'll give it a long leash because it's Warren Ellis and the art is outstanding. But I'm hoping I'll understand more with this issue. We'll see. Issue 2 of the Forevers from Black Mask. I think I'm just gonna let it ride since it's Black Mask. We'll see how long it lasts and everything. I thought the first issue was kind of okay, kind of cliches, a bit soft. I think my recording crashed for a minute, but maybe it's picked up. Did I get to show you the Forevers before it froze on me? So I got the Forevers from Black Mask. Then I guess I must have put this on my it's Steve Orlando. It's a Boom book called Namesake. It's Steve Orlando, and I'm not keen on Steve Orlando, but perhaps I put it looks like the kind of comic I might have put on my pull list. It's only 4 issues. So anyway, I'll read this. I'm tired of going back to the comic book store and arguing with them. Wonder Woman number 10. I'm kind of looking forward to this because this looks like it's one of the year 1 issues. And year 1 was starting to get good, but then they kind of had a filler on year 1. Actually, that filler was very good too. But anyway, it's like 3 stories going now in a way. Well, that art looks really good. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. Superwoman. You know what? I need to finish the last issue of Superwoman. Or is it Superwoman's with that funny S at the end? The Haunting of Lana Lang. I am kind of bummed about the death of the New 52 Lois Lane, and it was really weird in that issue of Action Comics where Lois Lane decides to take over Lois Lane's life. The Lois Lane who's 10 years older from another universe, take over her life, supposedly to be nice to her friends and relatives rather than have them face her death. But it's like, oh, there's an imposter Lois Lane who took over for my daughter. Oh, that's so great. It's better than knowing that she's dead. That's kind of creepy, I thought. Looking forward to Detective Comics Part 2, I think, of the Victim Syndicate. Interesting, I think, new set of bad guys. So that's fun. Supergirl, I would drop this series, but my daughter wants to keep getting it. Although, was there another glitch in the video there? Although she didn't want to read all of last issue. She keeps wanting to getting it in case it gets better, because it was a little creepy for her. The whole thing with her father, who's the cyborg Superman, is creepy. And it's Steve Orlando, and I think Steve Orlando is just not, for me, a consistent enough writer. Um, Red Hood and the Outlaws. I really like the last issue, so this is a really good cover. Hopefully this keeps going good. Everyone sort of says, you can never know not Steve Lobdell, Scott Lobdell, when it will go the wrong way. Flash, I'm pretty sure I'm dropping this. I just haven't gotten around to telling them because it comes out so frequently. For me, the writing just does not work, which is the huge surprise since I've loved other Josh Williamson books. But yeah, I really find it a slog, and I gotta cut. Deathstroke is really good, but I think I'm an issue or two behind now, so I've got to catch up on that. Action Comics, even though the last issue with Lois Lane taking over the Doppelganger Lois Lane taking over Lois Lane's life was odd, I'm kind of looking forward to this. More Lex Luthor. I like the whole Lex Luthor trying to be Superman thing anyway. And really been enjoying every issue of the new Superman written by Gene Yang, and really great art by Bogdanovich. So I'm psyched for that. I'm psyched that the new issue of that's out. I think this one is just monthly, but it's always a very dense read, very enjoyable. And then an issue of an Island. I think I love Island. I am many issues behind on Island. The anthology books get kind of put off. Oh no, this issue has more from Phil Barlow. And I know they want us to love Phil Barlow, but I hated the Phil Barlow comic in 8 House. Maybe this will be better. Other stuff in here looks good. It's kind of the modern version of heavy metal. And I know there's still heavy metal out there, and I should be checking it out. But yeah, cool. Okay, let's see if I don't know. It's weird because I've had this QuickTime botch things up quite a bit lately. I may be doing all this talking, and then no one will see it. But I guess I'm going to do this long video anyway. So the last haul I did, I forgot to show some of the things I picked up at I Like Comics. Some of the other black and white magazines. I got Rook number 12 and Rook number 13. I think number 13 is the last issue of Rook. So I've got like the first 3 or 4 issues, and then I've got the last 2. So I need to fill in the middle, but maybe I should just go ahead and read more of it. I loved the current Rook by Paul Galassi, or art by Paul Galassi, I think, script by Stephen Grant. And there's the next arc is not coming out in single issues, it's coming out in a trade, should be out any day now. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. Then I got this Man Gods Marvel preview. I keep wanting to call it premiere. Marvel Premiere presents Man Gods from Beyond the Stars, which is based vaguely on Eric von Däniken theories about, the pyramids and things being built by aliens, which was this really popular kind of pop science theory in the 70s. And so Marvel made a whole comic book inspired by that, a black and white comic book with incredible art by Alex Nino. And I think I got this for $3 or something. And then at the back, they have a bunch of articles about the whole Eric von Däniken theories about aliens visiting Earth in the ancient past. I like that idea. I don't know if there's any good evidence for it at all. I feel like he was pretty debunked later on, but I used to think I had owned this comic book, this magazine, but it was actually because I saw so many ads for it as a kid and wished I owned it that in my brain I almost thought I owned it. But when I looked at the interior, I knew I'd never read this. And I was super psyched that it was Alex Nino art. And this is also kind of a cool Neil Adams cover. Kind of the Neil Adams black and white covers is something people don't talk about much. But yeah, I mentioned that in my top covers video. And then another issue of Marvel preview, which is called Merlin, and is interesting because right on the cover it says by John Buscema and Doug Moench, or Moench, or however you say his name. And this is very interesting. I haven't read the story yet, but I read the interior explanation of the story. It was going to be entirely plotted by John Buscema by himself. They asked him, "What do you want to do?" And he said, "I want to do a Camelot story." So it's kind of like a star turn. Like, what does our star artist want to do? Let's let him do it, and then we'll find a way to publish it. And the way they published it was this. So it has Tom Palmer inks, which I'm a bit surprised on a pet project of John Buscema that he didn't do his own inking. But Tom Palmer is a great inker. But so the story behind it is John Buscema was drawing away, making up the plot as he goes along, and he got stuck. So they pulled in Doug Moench to help him with the plot, and then Doug Moench did the dialogue later. But I love Camelot stuff too, so, and a focus on Merlin sounds like a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to reading this. And while I was at my regular LCS, my regular comic book shop today, I started looking in their black and white magazines, or their magazine-sized comics, since that's what I'm kind of focused on collecting right now, and found some things that I just wanted to have. Some of which, I might be able to find with better prices, but I just went for it. But they had some issues of Epic, and $6 for an issue of Epic is not bad. And I got a 25% off, so I guess, what is that, $4? And I can buy Epics for $3 elsewhere, but I just thought I'd grab what I could now. So I grabbed these two issues of Epic. This one has a Howard Chaykin cover. This one has a P. Craig Russell cover of Elric of Melnibourne, I believe. Elric of Melnibourne. So yeah, I have a slowly growing Epic collection. Probably I owned these magazines back in the early 80s, but it's all gone. And then a little more pricey, again with my 25% discount, it was a little better, but 2 issues of Dracula Lives, each for $14. And I'm not sure of the condition of these. I didn't even check. I probably should have. This one looks in pretty good condition. And this one looks kind of beat up, unfortunately. Is this issue 1? I don't know. I know that this is an issue that ETA Nick 1 showed. But I think it's in pretty poor condition. But I saw it, I wanted it, I bought it. I'm kind of in a phase of spending way too much money and just not caring, I guess. But don't worry, I have enough to take care of myself and my family. And a few weeks ago, I got The World of Edina by Mobius. Haven't had time to read it. Beautiful volume, really nice quality binding and everything, as it's a Dark Horse book. I have a lot of confidence in Dark Horse hardbacks. It lays really flat, which maybe isn't as important because it doesn't have double page spreads, but it still matters to me. It still makes it a better reading experience. And I believe a book that will easily survive multiple readings without any harm being done to it. The interesting thing is this series started as like a collectible book that he did for the Citroën comic book company. Citroën car company in France. They wanted a fancy, nice hardcover album that you could only get if you worked at Citroën and you were a good salesperson or something. So that's kind of wild. But then he expanded it and did a lot of stories in this world. So it's a Mobius that I have never experienced before. I don't know if much of it's appeared in America before. I haven't researched that aspect of it. And then I discovered in the mall near where I work, there is now a brick and mortar Amazon bookstore. And it's actually a pretty nice store. it's kind of weird the way it works. So if you're a regular person, you walk in there, you pay the cover price. If you're a member of Amazon Prime, and you can prove it by them recognizing your credit card that you've used on Amazon before, or there's probably other ways to prove it. But if you're a member of Amazon Prime, they give you whatever the online price is right at that moment that you buy it, because Amazon prices can shift and change. So I happen to be a member of Amazon Prime. That's kind of the main way that I watch TV and videos at this point. And I like the free shipping, or quote free shipping. I mean, you pay $100 a year and you get the videos and the music and the shipping and I think some free books, free digital books and stuff. So anyway, at this store, I was browsing through a new bookstore. I wanted to try it out and buy some new books. So, well, first of all, I got this prose book, The Best American Science Fiction and Fantasy. The literary world always had the best American short fiction. I used to always be pissed that none of the great science fiction stories that I was reading ever appeared in here, in that volume. And then this publisher who does these has expanded out. They have had Best American Mystery Fiction, Best American Science Writing. And so now, finally, they have Best American Science Fiction and Fantasy. And I've only read the first story in here, and it was horrible. It made no sense. It was not science fiction. I guess it was fantasy in that anything that has any made-up word in it is fantasy. But, for me, it was like reading modern poetry of the sort that the person is talking about their life, but if you don't know them personally, you don't know what the heck they're talking about. Hopefully, further stories in here will be better. And then I also bought Squirrel Girl Beats Up the Marvel Universe, which is a very overpriced for the amount you get. It's still in its wrapping. It's going to be a present for my daughter. I haven't given it to her yet. I'm kind of keeping it hidden till there's a moment where I need to give my daughter a present. But this list price was $25. And I would, to look at it, I would guess there's 100 pages in there, maybe 80 pages. But it shows the popularity of Squirrel Girl in the trade and book market and kids market, that they would do an original graphic novel of this character who, if you were just to look at comic book store sales, you would think was kind of a not too popular character. But apparently she sells incredibly well at kids' book fairs. In trade, so that's why they did this. And my daughter loves Squirrel Girl, and I think Squirrel Girl is great. The current incarnation of Squirrel Girl is really good comics. Okay, and I got this giant thing, which is a art photography coffee table book of pictures of cartoonists and comic book artists and animators. You can see Jack Kirby on the cover there, and Sergio Aragonés. I'm not sure who the other two are there, but maybe I should know. And it's beautiful, and I got it secondhand, and it's in very nice shape. I got it, and good binding, of course. I got it secondhand off of Amazon, from a third-party seller, for what did I pay? Well, including postage, $11. That's Al Williamson? No, someone else. Yeah, that is Al Williamson. Huh. Wow. And so there's this huge photograph of each person in their studio, and then a little biographical paragraph there, and a piece of art by them there. I really like this layout. What alerted me to this is on Kickstarter, they're kickstarting a second volume of this. This is, I guess, out of print, but apparently easily available. So I backed the Kickstarter, and then I thought, I wonder how much it would cost to get the first volume. I'm looking for newspaper. There's Matt Wagner. I have a feeling some of these pictures were taken quite a long time ago. I think this book was published in 2007. But if you're enough of a fan of comics to want something like this, I think you can do what I did and find a nice copy online for not much money. But I am paying a lot for it for Volume 2 on Kickstarter. So it goes. Oh, there's Walt Simonson. I assume that's Louise Simonson with him. It's funny because there you're much more focused on the reference and books material than the drawing desk. The drawing desk looks like a very small part of his office. I love Simonson's signature. You get each artist's signature, or a recreation of each artist's signature. So this is a great collectible. I suppose it would be great, if you really had the energy to go around and get all of these artists to do a signature or a little doodle in the book. There would be space there. There's Jill Thompson. I think that picture's from quite a while ago. So anyway, very cool, hefty book, which I recommend to those of you who like this kind of thing. And speaking about the more extremes of fanaticism, I got Kamandi Artist Edition number 2 a few weeks ago. And as expected, as always is from IDW with these things, it's a wonderful, wonderful volume. And it has consecutive stories. I think the first volume did not have consecutive stories. So you can even just not own the original Kamandi, I suppose, and just use this to read it if you want to spend a lot of money. It looks like maybe the original art of the covers isn't always available. But yeah, I just eat up all these artist editions of Jack Kirby. I'd love to get the Steranko ones, and I only have one of the 2 Will Eisner Spirit ones, but even I have to pace myself somewhat. Let's see. This one have the similar back matter. I think this one maybe doesn't. So in the other one, there's sort of odds and ends of covers and splash pages and missing pages. But this one, I think, just focuses on having complete issues. Oh, this was always one of my favorite double-page spreads from Kamandi. The Experimental Animals. Okay, but that's not all. I believe I forgot to show you guys this other artist edition I have, which, if I tell you I have every Jack Kirby artist edition, then you'll guess that I might have this one. It is the Jack Kirby's The Mighty Thor artist edition, which is much, much bigger than the Kamandi. This comes from the early era. Sometime in the 60s, they switched over to smaller paper. So this comes from when they still used bigger paper. So there's the size comparison with the Kamandi one. And bigger is better, so I love the bigger one even more. As much as I love Kamandi, I just love looking at these giant pages of Kirby's Thor. And I love is the wrong word, but I find that I like the hated Vince Coletta inks much more than I thought I would. Seeing them big size, there's a lot of good qualities to his inks, even though I know he was famous for doing rush jobs and erasing backgrounds and such. It's still, it's marvelous, and it's great to just get my Kirby dose on. These are some back matter kind of pages. Get my doses of Kirby on these huge, huge pages. This is the way comics were meant to be absorbed. So yeah, I'm thrilled by both these books, but especially this Kirby Thor, and I hope there'll be more Kirby Thor. And eventually you'd think there's got to be some Kirby Fantastic Four and some Kirby Captain America, etc. Although I believe the next sort of Kirby Coffee Tale book I'll be getting is called Kirby Pencils and Inks, where they show the penciled pages and then the inked pages. because I think once he moved to DC, he became a little savvier and he started making Xerox copies of all his pencils before they got inked. Although, just for his records. Although, it might have been that was when Xeroxing things became affordable. I'm not sure when that became affordable. Okay, but that is not entirely all of what I want to show you. This is a little less. This is kind of the what do you call it? The anticlimax. I got some stuff from the library. One is Wonder Woman: The True Amazon. I was wondering whether I want to buy this. I was buying so much. Maybe I'll just get it from the library. We got it from the library. It is another Wonder Woman origin story, but it is different. So I just wish the timing were different too. I mean, we're still reading a Wonder Woman origin story in the regular comic book. I just before that finished another Wonder Woman story in Legends of Wonder Woman, which was wonderful. The Jill Thompson art here is at turns ugly and very beautiful. It's kind of a weird. I don't know if her art was always that way. My daughter is finding this kind of scary, so we're reading little bits here and there, and then she'll look at it and read it on her own. The parts that I've read with her seem extremely well written. I think it's just a case of the art is different and a little less visually appealing than I might have liked. And then I got two DC reference books out of the library just for fun. DC Comics: The Ultimate Character Guide. And if you have kids who have some interest in superheroes, get these kind of books out of the library. They'll spend hours pouring through them, and you can go do something else and relax. At least that's the way it's been for me. So my daughter really loves looking at these and has spent a lot of time already. It's funny seeing the images that seemed like the best images at whatever time this book was collated of the heroes and characters. But anyway, and these are fun for me to look through too. So then this is kind of really, they call it the DC Encyclopedia, but it's kind of similar. Most of it is character bios. Occasionally there'll be something other than a character bio, but I might like to own this big one someday. I think they've just updated it too. I don't know if they update the art much or just add a few pages. There's the Legion of Superheroes. So this is fun, and yeah, at least it depends what country you're in, whether libraries carry this, but in the U.S. and hopefully in Canada and England and elsewhere. I don't know if Mexico or Sweden or other places like that will be doing this. Well, Norway too, but I don't know if I have anyone watching from Norway. But it's a great way to just kind of look at these, get a bunch of these books from the library and just have fun looking at them, and you may or may not want to buy your own copies someday in the future. Okay, so that brings me to the end of this haul. Soon I will know if this video actually worked. I would like to put up some comic book thoughts videos. The longer I go without doing them, the more books I have that I wish I could talk about. And then it becomes daunting and circular thinking, and you get into trouble. But I will be back.